One of the nice things about doing this trip around GB was going to be to see what wildlife we could see on the way round. And I was very lucky to be accompanied by my friend Stephen Cook from Wick as far as Largs. He's a bit of a naturalist and a very good photographer. And so I said, well, why don't you do it? And so he has, and I shall hand over to him in a minute. This picture is actually my only contribution to this wildlife. It was a butterfly that I saw on a walk near Port Patrick, and I'm quite pleased with the photograph actually. Towards the end of the video is a small clip from Avril, who spotted this enormous jellyfish in Largs Marina. So anyway, I'll hand over to Stephen.
Hi, I'm Stephen, and until now an extra in Lawrence's videos. He's asked me to talk about some of the birds we've seen and other wildlife on our sail. Let's deal with this bad boy first. This is a herring gull, and this is the bird that steals chips and ice cream at the seaside. Notice the red spot on its bill and the fact that it's got pink legs. And here's another herring gull. Notice this time the little white patch on the wingtip. This bird's a common gull, and again has a white patch on its wingtip, but has green legs. This bird is a kittiwake. And notice this time that there is no white patch on the wingtip. The bird on the right is a juvenile and will eventually molt out of that into adult plumage. The kittiwake's more correctly called a blackleg kittiwake, and here it is showing you why. The last gull here we have is a great black-backed gull. It's the largest gull in the world and a formidable predator. You might think this is a gull. In fact, it's a fulmar, very common around the Scottish coastline. Notice that it doesn't have any black marks on its wings, and it has very stiff, straight wings. Here's an Arctic tern. In our winter they live on the Southern Ocean, and in the summer they breed on Arctic coastlines. That's the longest migration of any bird. Scotland is the southernmost extent of their summer range. The bird we've seen most frequently at sea is the common guillemot. We've probably seen thousands of these. The bird on the left here has a white marking on its face, on its eyes, around its eyes, and that's called a bridled guillemot. Same species as all the others, just has different markings. The further north you go, the more bridled guillemots you find. Here's a video showing the guillemot's response to an approaching boat. Less frequently seen is a black guillemot. If you get to see these on a cliff face, you'll notice the really bright red legs. And if you look closely, you'll see the inside of its mouth matches. Here's a razorbill. Along with guillemots, they're members of the auk family. Another member of the auk family is a puffin. See these quite frequently at sea. They're harder to see on land. You don't see many ducks in the summer. This one you do. This is an eider, male one, quite common around Orkney. We've seen quite a few gannets, very big birds with a black outer wing panel and a yellow head. They catch fish by diving for them, circling at a height. When they see something, they dive down and convert themselves into a missile as they hit the water. Around Skye we saw large rafts of several hundred of these small birds. They're Manx shearwaters. They live entirely at sea, apart from when nesting, which they do in burrows, and they only visit the burrow at night, so they're Again, quite difficult to see from the land. Grey heron. See these occasionally on the shoreline. This one was at Tobermory. At Lochimver, we saw about 8 herons nesting in trees. The furthest north they do that, we were told. I guess that's because there are not many trees further north. Some birds we've only seen at a distance and have been quite difficult to photograph. This one's a great skua, but here's a picture I've already had. A great big bird, kleptoparasitic, which means it steals its food from other birds. Here's a great northern diver, and again a better picture. Spectacular plumage, male and female birds are alike. This one's a red-throated diver, and a better picture. This bird, I didn't know what it was when I took the picture. It was a long way off. I identified it afterwards as a red-necked phalarope. This is a very rare bird, only a couple of dozen breeding pairs in Great Britain. And interestingly, the male and female roles are reversed in this bird. The male incubates and raises the chicks, and the female has the more spectacular plumage. An oyster catcher, noisy bird, very feisty, will take on birds much bigger than itself that it considers a threat. I've also known them to have a go at drones, so I've kept away with mine. And finally, a couple of shags. Quite often see these flying long distances, low, close to the water. And sometimes you see them standing on rocks, holding their wings out to dry them. We've seen a few mammals. Unfortunately, don't have a photograph of the otter we saw feeding at Gairloch. This is a grey seal. We've seen common seals as well, but again, no photo. This is a harbour porpoise. And this is a minke whale. You can identify this by the position of its fin, quite a long way back on its body.
A barrel jellyfish, the largest jellyfish in the UK. Aren't they fantastic? Cool. Thanks for giving the display.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Avril, for that that picture or video of the jellyfish. I just wanted to add a little bit about Great Northern Divers. One of the reasons I sail is because of a guy who wrote books, Arthur Ransom, Swallows and Amazon series. The last book of the series, the number 12 book, was called Great Northern and was all about the children trying to protect Great Northern divers that were nesting in the Outer Hebrides. I've been very close. I've seen the Outer Hebrides. I've come down the Inner Hebrides, and so that was quite close to my heart, the fact that we had a video of a Great Northern diver. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for watching. We'll be back to normal travels very soon.